Why is Monique planning on having a baby while her man is still flunking the family exam? Will this season's throuple end in trouble? And who's already the most annoying cast member? To answer this and many more questions, let's go back to the beginning. Hello and welcome to Lawd Lukan. It's time to stand behind the yellow line as we get a pat down from a sneaky peeky of the first episode of the new season of Love During Lockup. On today's show, Monique takes a turn for the worst.
Monique! Call ambulance.
Goddess's mum is teaching her daughter all the important stuff.
Turn around and bend over.
Emily is showing Justin that he's got nothing to worry about.
I'm in Vegas.
What the are you doing?
Someone's got a thing about feet.
Toes and all that. You gonna have to suck my toes too, baby.
And is Titus in trouble already?
You're about to be single.
All this and more right here on the Lawd Lukan channel.
Just because you up doesn't mean that defines you.
Top of the morning on Shantae and Irashamasi to you. Big loves to those who've subscribed, you beautiful people, and a platter of Iberico Balota ham for the lords and ladies of the Lukan Manor. Well then, mon petit pois, a new series of Love During Lockup pounces on us this weekend. And is it going to be the usual mix of simping, pimping and financial limping? Well, you can bet your butt it is. We've got ourselves a couple of full segments to watch, and if you want to skip to those, check out the chapters in the timeline. But before that, let's take a quick recap of who's going to be misbehaving, shock-waving and depraving this season. We've got the return of the whack, Monique and her man Titus, and the plot for these two is that she wants to have a baby. No marriage, no stability, just, the baby please. After all, marriages take work, and all she needs to do for a baby is, have a nice lay down.
I saw my man, y'all. We hugged, we kissed. I want a baby now.
So, that'll all be fine. Having a baby to lock a man down who's been locked up is always a great idea. He, of course, already has one, and the baby mama to go with it. So, even though he's not sure about their future, what's his interest in the present?
Sing.
Well, these guys. When they're locked up, ladies seem to be like Pokemon cards. They try to collect as many as they can. There's always another one that they want next. And in the end, it's all about how much money they can get out of them. It kind of boils down to this. Unless the woman fills their books with money, or fills their eyes with honey, they'll get traded.
You would think I learned my lesson, but I just can't seem to stay away from it on the inside.
Which, if you've seen my little dive into Monique's psychology, you'll know that it's all about control and capture. But I do think she was fed that line though. I've watched a painfully large amount of her videos, and I don't believe that was something she'd say, as she spent so much time claiming that she isn't addicted to inmates. And as usual in Monique's story, the Swiss family Robinson are there to try and get all up in her business.
You're not about to apologize. You're about to be single.
So, what do you think she wants him to apologise for? Well, here's my totally uninformed guess. I'm going to pitch the idea that Monique's sisters voiced the idea that maybe a guy who did 15 years for kidnap and armed robbery isn't the best type of guy for her, as they did with Derek. Maybe they'll suggest that he needs to prove himself to them, because they're a bit entitled and self-important like that. Perhaps they'll be digging on him and found out some spicy information. But I'm going to guess that then they express their concern to Slow-Mo. Slow-Mo asks Titus about it, and Titus tells them to shake their buns in someone else's patisserie. Shake their sprinkles on someone else's cupcake. And generally the whole piss off kind of messaging. Slow-Mo gets annoyed and demands an apology because her sisters are never wrong. Well, there you go, that's my assumption. Let's see if we're right, shall we?
I'll get a kiss.
Have you ever noticed how close Slow-Mo holds the phone to her face? Well, in this last clip from the vault of Monique, we see that all that talk about how in love they are, how they're going to have babies and just move away into the sunset together, maybe just that. Talk.
We in love, right? I said we in love, right?
We've also got Emily and Justin. Rest in peace, young man. She's the one who likes to get a bit of cream on her face and, also likes a good food fight. But I'll get to her and her annoyingness shortly. We've got Rich and Felicia. Rich is the man who's being touted as the new Deontay. So whether he's got a dishwasher-safe Felicia Jr. tucked under the bed or a red velvet suit ready to stun and amaze us remains to be seen. Apparently he saw Felicia in a dream.
I wrote her. I had a dream. I seen you in my dream. She wrote back instantly.
Felicia has been locked up her entire adult life and is about to try and make sense of relationships. And I think there may just be a bit of an issue with the other woman in his life.
Then what we doing if you don't trust me?
And it may or may not all end in tears.
Tell him the truth.
We've got Ayesha and Mikhael, whatever, however you pronounce that. He's not got a release date, and she needs to sort a wig out. It's a bit of a mess, that, isn't it? But hey, maybe Slow-Mo can sort her out.
999 years. No release date. You sure he's not catfishing you?
I think if you've got a man who got life without parole, a bit of catfishing is the last thing that you need to worry about. But the whole murdery what the hell did he do type thing might just be. Still, it's the ultimate relationship in some ways. He'll never make a mess of your house, he won't go off with one of your friends, and you'll always know where he is. Then we've got Bonita, Goddess and Damond. Oh, I bet Julius is a bit jealous. He wanted to have that whole throuple storyline, but, ended up with these two. Good job. And of course, the other two ladies don't know about his little plans yet.
Love triangle right now. I do want a party relationship.
Well, I'm sure this whole idea sounded great in his head, but did he see if the other ladies want to have a jolly polly time? Or is he just going to assume that life is a corn movie? It's like on Jerry Springer when some guy wants to bring his side chick home because cheating is a lot of effort, and so everybody throws, flowers and stuff about. It gets to be manhandled by DUI Steve. But we'll get to these in more detail shortly. And last and, maybe least, we've got Kayleigh and Michael. Damn, another Michael. They were childhood sweethearts and got married before he went to prison. Although, having said that, I think Kayleigh might just be the catfisher woman this season. Here's an example of her pictures, and here's what got delivered. I'll be clicking the returns box.
I would much rather date a guy with a sentence than one who can't finish one.
Okay then, well here's a question. If you had to choose, or someone will kidnap your favourite pet, what would you prefer? Someone who is locked up, or someone who is Troy? Jail. A bit stupid. And, not necessarily Troy. Isn't it weird though how Troy kind of ticks both boxes at once? Personally, I think I'd go with stupid, because stupid could be a bit endearing, can't it? And, stupidity isn't really intentional, mostly. Plus, I often find idiots to be quite caring and genuine, personally.
I fell for Mickey so hard that I got his name tattooed.
Oh yes, good old Mervager. So, I guess this is the choice for this couple. She went for an inmate and he went for stupid. She says she spent $42,000 on him since he went away, which, in case you were wondering, depending on where you are, that would get you 175,000 packs of ramen. Unless you're in Florida with their premium $1.06 noodles, where you'd only get 46,000 packs. Now though, speaking of costs, did you know that until January 2025, some prisons charged up to $12 for a 15-minute phone call? You can kind of see how some people get into debt. Anyways, I'm sure the whole Kayleigh and Michael thing will be fine.
I left my son on his birthday to come pick you up, and I can't pick you up.
So that's our little recap of the cast. Let's move over to the episode, shall we? So we have 2 whole segments for you. Now for the first one, we're off to Where in Nevada, also known as Elko, for a spot of Emily and Justin. If you want to know more about what happened to Justin, check out this link in the corner for fuller details. So, enter Emily, who's trying out her elegant walk. Check this out. Good job. Emily tells us she's coming a casual lycra today. Now, if you haven't guessed, she is the most irritating cast member yet. And granted, that is a tough competition, and we haven't seen all the competitors yet, but there's something about how she talks to the camera with her weird eye movement and sense of self-importance that really irritates me. She's just so impressed with herself. Anyway, she says that ever since she was young, she's dreamt of the big lips, big boobies.
Big lips, very, when she walks in the door that she paid for everything that she has.
Now I don't know about you, but the fake look really doesn't give me the, oh look, she must be really self-sufficient vibe. Or the, wow, what a strong empowered woman she must be. Now, Judge Vonda B, now she's got that self-sufficient vibe. Maybe Isha Ambami. Or even J.K. Rowling. They give that vibe that they don't need your money. Have you seen J.K. Rowling's man, though? Blimey, he's done well for himself, hasn't he? But as I was saying, I think it's about grace and elegance, not plump bits. So, let's see if Emily and her super genius friend can navigate some difficult parking.
Where are we gonna park?
See, pull like over here.
That's good. It's fine. It's perfect.
By the pump, maybe? You know, that is the traditional way to park at a gas station. But, you know, if you want to get creative with it. Also, isn't that a Tesla? So now I'm not really the most educated person, but... Oh, no. No. So, the super amazing genius driver is called Savannah, and apparently they used to work together. So, is she, like a courtesan too? Maybe she's a bit more of a specialist niche, though. I did think it was her mum at first.
She's driving me to my new gig in Wells, Nevada. Have you ever heard of it? Probably not.
Now, I know she was only joking there, but that really irritated me for some reason. I can't describe why. It's just her ness that kind of grinds on me. That might have been a bad choice of words. Now I'll pass on that, thank you very much. I was curious, actually. I wonder how much a session with her is. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's email the company and find out. Now, what I thought was quite unique is the place that she works, here at Bella's Hacienda, has the usual phone and email, but you can also get them on the CB radio. Breaker 69er. So, let's write an email, shall we? Right, well, hello, I'm going to be in Wells next month for work, yes, and I plan on coming, see what I did there, February the 6th, and I just wanted to check how much I should budget for. See, look at that flawless plan, nobody will see through that. I wanted to make it sound like I was some sort of financially conscientious kind of pervert, you know. I didn't want to just go ahead and ask for the menu. Also, I didn't want to make it sound like I'm just after Emily, just in case they think it's for Lalu purposes. So I thought I might ask for a few different girls' prices. Let's go see the offerings, shall we? Now, I can't show you much of what I see, but Emily's right there on the top row. Oh, look, they also do guys, in more ways than one. Like this one, Romeo Uncaged, or Khalil. Ah, there we go, Victoria Fox. She's a similar sort of profile to Emily, but how do I say this? Well, certain parts of her anatomy remind me of a large group of tarantulas trying to escape from behind a kite. Yeah, that sort of, au naturel appeal. So, if possible, I'd like to meet either Victoria Fox or M. Marie. I like dark-haired girls. How much is your deposit, and how much should I put aside for my experience? Would both the girls be available at the same time? Regards. What should my name be? What's a good name for a rando perv? Well, Dave's a bit of a sus name, isn't it? Richard? Barry? I know. Gary. Afterwards, I kind of wish I'd called myself Big G, but never mind, next time. Now, it does say on the website that the service cost mid-hundreds, which I was slightly confused about. A mid-hundred is like sort of about $50, isn't it? Unless they mean more like $500. Really? Men would pay $500 for a spin on her Peloton? Nah, I'll be okay, thanks. Also, when we see the shot inside Bella's brothel, man, this guy's like, what's going on? She said she was over 18, I promise. And probably thought Chris Hansen was going to appear from behind a curtain. I wondered if he has a wife. You imagine sitting down to watch a bit of the Lalus on Friday night, and you see your husband sitting there. Yeah, I just stopped to ask directions. Turns out they only gave Anyway, so we get back to the car just in time for a typically well-timed phone call. All the way over in Pennsylvania, in SC Hootsdale. And it is, of course, Justin. And it's quite sad, really, knowing that the guy took his own life not long after this was filmed. I'm not going to go into details, but it was on Emily's son's birthday, as Justin allegedly stated in his note that Emily would then remember him for at least one day of the year every year.
We're actually looking at the possibility of Justin being out in like 3 months.
That would be amazing.
He didn't get the parole he was after, which was a contributing factor to his choice, apparently. And mixed with his deep anxieties over his girlfriend's career choice, he may have felt a bit overwhelmed and trapped. If you ever feel like you have no options, please reach out to somebody, even just a stranger, because you do matter and you are loved. Anyway, back to the episode.
My name is Justin. I was charged with burglary and person theft with that firearm.
Well, that's not sort of strictly true. We can see it as burglary, possession of a firearm, criminal mischief, damaged property, receiving stolen goods, simple assault, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, and criminal conspiracy. Good job.
Justin and I met 6 months ago. I was on Facebook.
Facebook, the dating app of choice for the lollies who just seem to happen across their next toxic relationship. But it has to be said, if he hated what she did so much, and she told him after just 2 messages, then why did he stay with her? Surely he would have known that things play on your mind in that little box, and nothing eats away at you like the paranoia or uncertainty of what's going on outside. Only he knew exactly what was going on outside, which must have been even worse. Sure, he probably assumed it was way more worse than what was actually going on, and probably a lot more frequent, but to know the fact that the woman you were supposed to be with is busy servicing the population of Nevada must have made it impossible to ignore. Maybe he stayed with her because he didn't have anyone else, but according to the story,
It was his ex who is running his Facebook account. I showed Justin your picture and he's interested in getting to know you.
Which is a bit odd, isn't it? Maybe they're just good friends. But why would your ex take on the role of HR to vet the applications for your next missionary position? I think the woman in question is also the person who gets into the platter splatter in later episodes. Well, you know, if it means you get to chuck your dessert at Lalu's Most Unwanted, then you go for it. So, what about Emily's son?
We try to catch as many FaceTimes as possible because I'm missing out on so much right now and it breaks my heart.
Sure, all right, but if you genuinely did, then, you'd be there. You'd do something that didn't separate you from your little man for a month or so at a time. She's got a shop which she only opens a few hours whenever she can be bothered. How about you shut that and get a job, which means you can be there. Or maybe that heart isn't as achy-breaky as she tries to convince us that it is. Then what about her son? So when he grows up and goes online, he'll see that
I'm a hooker.
It's those looks, the patronizing head movements that bother me. It's like saying, I'm a hooker, followed by, It's like she's insulting you with facial sign language. But I think one of the contributing things is that she's treated like a queen by all the Johns that book her attention. And it just seems like she's let that go to her head, and now she's got an overinflated sense of importance. I don't think anybody's impressed by you.
Justin, you really have nothing to worry about. I promise you I'm not gonna hurt you.
Unless you pay a little extra. But you won't get hurt, it's all fine. Yeah, it's just a bunch of dirty old men. And, young men too, by the look of it. Using her vagina as a Holiday Inn. Nothing to worry about at all. Plus, those other guys, it's just business. And no one ever gets hurt by business, right?
It takes a lot of work to be in love with somebody that lives the life that she lives.
I'm sure it does. And if the guys at the jail find out what she did, then I'm certain they'll make sure that he's never got a chance to forget about all the things that she might be up to. Or the multiple things she gets up to at the same time. She's like the Lalu Bonnie Blue.
I care deeply about what Justin thinks, but it's hard to give up something that I know is going to take me further in life.
Take her all the way by the sounds of it. But where does she think it'll take her? A promotion? What's the prospects for somebody in her line of work? Owning her own spots one day? Sure, she wants to save the money, but with the expenses of flying across the country and the rent and the upkeep on her business that she never goes to, you'll need to be earning some big buckaroonies to make all that work. And if we go by the reviews of Bella's, she's not mentioned once. A person called Happy gets a lot of praise, as does Summer, and apparently Arian is a veritable magician. So she may score well over the month that she's there, but she'll need to be a star attraction to bring in the real money. Maybe that's why she came on Lalu. A bit of free marketing. And if she wants to be taken seriously, will any employer really want to hire her after she's being so proud of all she does? Sure, we shouldn't judge, and being in the adult industry doesn't make you a monster or unemployable, but being on national TV, bragging about it and getting loads of exposure can make people think twice. I worked in that industry myself for some years before my son came along. I was even fired from my first teaching job because someone saw one of my videos and sent the link to my employers. You should have seen the HR lady finding it difficult to look me in the eye afterwards. So I know firsthand that the world isn't ready for people who did adult work and want to change for the better.
Oh my God, that broke my heart.
Now off to Baltimore because it's time to meet Goddess and Damond, aka GG and Moomoo. No, I'm not joking. He does call himself Moomoo. They haven't added in Bonita yet, so I guess they'll be introducing her in coming episodes, just like they did with Alexis and Ashley. And whilst it says a simple robbery on his little picture, the truth is a little bit more extensive than that. In fact, here's a little glimpse at his rap sheet. In 2024, we got armed robbery, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, the plain old robbery, just in case the first two weren't spicy enough. Then we've got first and second degree assault, possession of a deadly weapon with intent to injure, and theft under £1,000, all tied to a highway robbery with a knife. Then in 2019, he was charged with handgun and vehicle. Then in 2021, under the label armed person, which is the system's polite way of saying this man had many guns in many places, firearm as a felon, illegal regulated firearm, 2 mystery gun charges, handgun in the car, handgun on him, and illegal ammo. It's basically the full Call of Duty loadout. So if we were to put his full charges on his little picture, it'd look like this. Wow, I think we're going to need a bigger boat. Today, Goddess, aka GG, has gone clothes shopping with her family.
When people ask me, what's my name? And I'm like, my name is Goddess. They like, your real name. I'm like, what? That is my real name.
It's quite lucky she's an attractive young woman, really, isn't it? If it had been different, perhaps her mum would have called her Sloth. In fact, her mum has a certain kind of directness, shall we say.
Wow. Are we taking a picture for him?
Turn around and bend over.
All right, Diana Ross, we're not here to pimp her out, you know. It's kind of a mystery how GG has managed to turn out quite so balanced. Well, I say that now, but it's early, so, you know, maybe the bunny boiler bit is still to come.
I'm like obsessed with him in a fatal attraction type of way.
Oh, spoke too soon. But of course, there's Bonita, who we haven't met yet. Now we'll get to her shortly. But she's got a few things to reveal. One of which is that she's kind of accidentally sold some of Moomoo's belongings while he's been in prison. Just a little matter of $100,000 worth of belongings. Whoops. But at the moment, both Moomoo and GG are unaware of this.
Thinking about him just make my cheeks hurt.
Is that because he's a major pain in the arse? Julius Part 2? I wonder if he's also going to be a rapper. When this was filmed, it was due to be released in 6 weeks. So we know, because of WeTV's schedule of filming is at least 6 to 9 months ahead of time, that he'll be out already. Let's meet him, shall we?
My name Damond, also known as Moomoo.
Ah, here's our guy. But it turns out that Bonita, who doesn't have a nickname yet, isn't the only one who's harbouring a secret. Well, she's sort of harbouring 2 secrets, really, but she's largely unaware of the second secret in her dog.
I've been in a relationship with GG for a year. I can really talk to her like I knew her in a past life for real.
Which is, of course, that he's engaged to Bonita, and is hoping that everybody will be like, yeah, no worries, let's all get together sister-wife style and live happily ever after, shall we? But it's not just all the cake that Moomoo's planning on eating. He's also got his eyes slightly lower than that. Now that's enough to put anyone off their cake, you know, and sort of eating it. So he's a foot guy, huh? Gross. What do you think, my suddenly nauseous viewer? Would you treat the feet for your partner? I don't think there's a pair in the world that would make me think, nom nom nom.
My biggest fear right now is...
feet? Cake? Cakey feet? Ugh. Which is worse, cakey feet or feety cake? Let's move on, I've managed to disgust myself with all that. And let's cleanse our thought bubbles with the mum telling it like it is.
Love you, cheeks.
No, you don't.
Good job, Diana. Now the thing that GG is most concerned about also lies below the tide line. And no, it's not something to put a sock on. Well, I've heard some men do. It's not the size of the jeans. It's...
the bedroom. Like, how big is it? Like, is it big enough?
Ah, she's concerned with the size of the bedroom. Yeah, maybe she's got a lot of furniture. But no, of course it's the size of the Swiffer and whether it truly does get into all the corners and crevices. And she's wondering if he's a Chromecast kind of guy or whether he's more of a Roku.
Men be saying like it ain't the size of the boat, it's the motion in the ocean, but I need it to be the size of the boat and the motion in the ocean.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
And as always in these situations, there's a mum that knows better, has trodden those roads before, and is trying, at last, to offer her daughter a word or two of advice, only to be ignored.
I'm worried about you getting your heart broke because I know the pattern.
Which should be a lesson that GG hears, seeing as her father was also a consistent offender. And her and her mum have spent many years watching her dad go in and out of prison, and can surely understand how it is to love a man who keeps going away. And it would appear that GG is about to unlearn those lessons for herself.
It's cool while they're in there. It's Fantasy Island.
Wow.
They come home to reality.
No, sorry, can't hear you. I've got all these good intentions and sweet words in my ears. Which is a shame, really. She's a bit like Kiana. She appears to be a good person, has a fairly decent head on those shoulders, but is deaf to the sound of good advice.
How long I'm gonna give y'all?
However long you want.
At first I said a year. I'm gonna say 90 days.
Go ahead. Let's bet $5,000.
90 days, huh? That sounds like a bet to me. What do you think, dear viewer? Will they make it that long? Will Gigi surprise us by deciding to go along with old Towboy's requests? Or will Diana Ross be more accurate than Gigi thinks? Personally, I'm with the mum. $5,000 or less than 90 days.
That man loves me. That man loved me real bad.
True, but love just isn't enough sometimes. And if that man who loves her is also the man who's engaged to Bonita and is intending on trying to do a bit of blending Garrick style, then lowers the least of her worries.
I'm trying to still work out all the kinks and figure it out so it won't come back to bite me in my ass later on.
Well, we all know about your kinks, mister. And do you know what they call that statement about him hoping that all these secrets and plotting to get everything that he wants? They call that famous last words.
You gonna have a lot of me getting on your nerves until you say, Ma, you were right.
So, there we are, my delightful viewer. What do you make of that? Well, it all kicks off for real on the 16th, and I'll be back to cover that as we go. So, what did we learn, ladies and gentlemen? Well, if there's one thing today's stories remind us, is that love isn't proved by how much money we spend, how loudly we insist everything's fine, or how tightly we cling to the fantasy we want. It's proved by reciprocity, by honesty, and by the quiet moments where actions match words. When we ignore the people that have walked this road before, or let the wrong part of our body do the thinking, it's not just heartbreak that we risk, we also risk losing a bit of ourselves. So if we take anything from this episode, let it be this. Choose the version of love that chooses you back. Thank you so much for watching. It's an honour to have you accompany me through these trials of love and life. We're just starting our next adventure, and I hope you'll be there to watch it with me. So if you like what I do, then please do like, subscribe, and check out one of these little beauties. So until we meet again, stay beautiful, love to my three, and you take care of yourself.
Please subscribe now for our play. Thank you.